Hi again folks, how you all doing? This is a Hattons Class 66 that was sent to me by Alex. He said that this had begun running a bit intermittently and that he thinks the motor is maybe on its way out. Oh dear. Well, let's turn on the power and see what happens. No, not much happening there at all. The ammeter moves a tiny wee bit, but there's no other sign of life in either direction. Well, let's get it into the shed and we'll pry it open and see what's up. Right, a Hattons 66. Very nice model. Nice and heavy. But what's up with it? If it's the motor, which it more than likely is, good have fun and games because I'm not sure if replacements are available. Seems to be in very good condition. Some nice interior cab detail. Clips there, and there. So we'll get some cocktail sticks. Right. That one. Yeah, is it going to come out at that? Oh, gee whiz. Little sort of handrails outside the steps there. There we go. So what we got, centrally mounted motor, a couple of drive shafts, all looks okay. Then we're going to have to lift this PCB out. Two screws for this PCB. Let's get rid of these bits of tape. Got some switches there, 21 pin blanking plate, more switches. We'll undo these screws. And of course there's not enough slack in the wire to move this out of the way. Get these wires out. I'll have to try and get these ones out. Carefully so as not to break the wires. Right, might be able to do it at that. Right, let's see if we can get this motor out. There's 4 little screws. Little mounting bracket. Might have to disconnect one of the drive shafts to get enough play in the motor to get it out. Well, that came out very easy. Right. That'll now lift out. Now we should be able to I'm going to have to undo the other one as well. I think so. Okay, that came out very easy. Sometimes these are very difficult to get out. That's that drive shaft out. Now this should come out easy enough. Still connected with the wires, of course. To take this out. Right, now this should come out, I think. There we go. I'm just going to scratch this to indicate where the red wire goes. So the red wire off. And the black wire. Along with all these bits and bobs. on there just now. Yeah, not much happening. There it goes. But will it go from a stop? Yeah, it tries to give it a wee spin. Up. Nah. So I think what we'll do is we'll go online and see if we can get a replacement for this, but it's such a big chunky motor. I'm kind of tempted to open it up and just see what condition it's in, because it's possible it's maybe just got a bit gunked up the carbon, and possibly we could clean it up and get it working. Just lift these tabs up. It's not always easy to do this with modern motors. There's brushes and stuff in there. It doesn't look particularly dirty, but there is quite a bit of carbon on the commutator. I think we'll give it a scoosh out. Let that evaporate off. I think I would need to pull this flywheel and get this out altogether to clean it properly. But I just want to see if that's made any difference. It's spinning away fine. Right, I'm going to let that contact cleaner evaporate right off and then test it 2-3 times. But that might actually be all it needed. Was a bit of a scoosh out. And that's turning fine, even with a very low voltage. We shall leave it for a bit and test it later. Okay, so this is actually the next day. I tested this a few times yesterday, and every time it seemed to spin fine. So let's just check that it's still doing so. There it goes. So I think we're okay. I had a look online and I couldn't find any replacements for this motor, so I think we're in luck that it seems to be working okay after giving it a blast out with the contact cleaner. I'll just open it up again and let you see with the endoscope what's in there. So I didn't do that yesterday. There you go, you can just see the commutator and the brushes in there. As I said yesterday, to open this right up and give it a proper clean, I'd need to remove one of the flywheels, which I really don't want to get into all that. A good blast with the contact cleaner seems to be okay. I mean, it's not visibly that dirty. If it was covered in black gunk, yeah, I think I'd be inclined to try and take it apart and clean it. But it seems clean enough. So it's just been a wee bit of build up of carbon on the brushes, I think, that giving it a blast with the contact cleaner has sorted. Solder that onto there. the red wire on. I'll have to get the drive shafts in. I think when we've got these gearboxes open, we'll get some fresh gear oil in them. And a bit of silicone grease on the drive shafts. This underneath the wires. Yeah, that's an easier way to do that. Didn't have to lift the motor. So that's my drive shafts connected up. The one gear's in place. Let's clip this on. Although the motor was fine under testing, I still have a slight concern that it'll struggle under load, but we'll just have to see how it goes. There we go. There we go. Right. Let's see if this runs. Right. Fingers crossed. Oh. I think I'm going to have to open this up again. In this direction I can hear a little screech. I think what I need to do is give this a good run on the layout and see if that noise goes away. It's maybe just I don't know what's causing it, but we'll give it a good run. So yeah, on the layout it's quite bad, you know, it hesitates and makes that slight screeching sound, and the ammeter was whacking up to 600 milliamps. I'm now thinking the motor isn't that good. Okay, so to cut a long story short, this was still making scrapey sounds in one direction. So I pulled the flywheel off and I've opened this up, and if you get a look at the brushes, you can kind of see they're a bit bent. This one in particular is a bit bent. There's a little washer in there as well, which looks very dry. I'd quite like to get a little bit of lubrication in there. So I think we'll try and straighten these brushes up and give the commutator a bit of a clean. It's dirtier than I thought it was. You can see it's a 5-pole motor. We'll try and clean that commutator up. We'll straighten the brushes and we'll get a wee bit of lubrication on that bearing. Right, let's just give that a wee twist. Okay, that looks a bit better. A bit of lubrication on that bearing. Try a bit of T-cut on a cotton bud. Okay, give that a wee scoosh. Right, we'll see if we can get this back in. It's entirely possible when I pulled this partially out and then put it back in that it's bent the brushes. You know, I kind of just forced it in. So I'm wondering if we need to just be a wee bit cleverer with this. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to get that on, to get the brushes apart, to get them over the commutator. Wonder if that's done it. Yeah, we'll need to put a nut on the end of that and that, and squeeze these together. These nuts should do the business. One on there. One on there. Yep. That's what I feared would happen. That one moved. Right, I've managed to tap this flywheel back a bit, and I've removed the plastic sockets for the drive shafts. So this will now fit in here, but I need to squeeze this flywheel, but not this one. So I need to block this one. I think to do that, let me just get a screwdriver in there. I'll maybe do it. I want this to be about 0.5. Actually, remember to take a measurement this time. Right. That'll do it. I think I'll pull this one back out a bit. Unfortunately, none of my pullers are doing it. It's really annoying. Good old hammer and punch. Yeah, that looks about right. Get these sockets back in. Right, okay, it's all back together. Just sort these wires out a bit. Let's see. It's just going to make that horrible little noise. No, I think we're okay. So I think taking the motor apart and giving the commutator a good clean, making sure the brushes were adjusted properly, has made a big difference. And I think lubricating that bearing inside the motor as well has probably helped. But I think it was the brushes being all skew with that was making the scraping sound. So that's sorted. Seems to be fine. So there's little steps and railings that a couple of them are already broken, but they're just in the way. I don't know if they've been added on or if they're always there. Ugh. Try and get this on without breaking them. Yeah, I think that's that. There we go. Fingers crossed. This is sorted, but we won't know until it's had a good run. Let's go and pull it out the shed. Okay then, let's bring it out. So there we are, that's Alex's Hattons Class 66 running again. A good example of how some CAN motors can be serviced, because inside them they're invariably just the usual commutator and brushes, and they get gunked up in the same way. I've brought a couple of motors back from the dead this way, but this is the first one I've done on video. I thought at first just giving it a good scoosh out with the contact cleaner would do it, but I think I maybe bent one of the brushes clicking it back together. So I took it apart properly and cleaned it, oiled the bearing, and that seems to have done the trick. If a replacement motor had been available, I probably would have just replaced it, but sometimes, as in this case, and depending on the motor, you can service it and a new motor isn't required. As always with a modern diesel model, it's a whole kettle of fiddles to deal with, but job done, and hopefully this will run okay for a while. Okay then, I shall get this packed up and sent back to Alex. Catch you later, folks.